Welcome back to Ozark Garage. Today we are going to build a motorcycle wheel chock for the bed of a Toyota Tundra with no welding and no drilling into the truck. So those of you that have commented about my projects always taking a welder, this one is for you. This is designed to be commonly available materials and no welding and no drilling into the truck itself. So thanks for watching and thanks for commenting. I do read all the comments and I respond to as many as I can. Once again, this is for you guys. So what we're making here is a motorcycle wheel chock. So what this does is it holds the front wheel of a motorcycle and it keeps it from falling over while you strap it down. So the straps do the heavy lifting, but this holds it upright and helps support it in transit. Previously I had a system in here with some 2x4s and some universal wheel chocks, and universal means it fits nothing. So that didn't really hold the motorcycles that well. I had one for the DRZ on this side and one for the Trail 125 on that side. I went ahead and built this one here because I want something that is out of the way. So this I plan to leave in the truck pretty much all the time, and I still have pretty much the full use of the bed even when the motorcycles aren't in here. It's connected to the factory Toyota Tundra T-slot rail. So I know Tundras have these, Tacomas have these. Other trucks have similar systems. You may just have to shop for what you've got in your truck. But the T-nuts that go behind it, bought from Amazon, they're actually pretty cheap. And then it uses standard 3/8/16 hardware. The bulk of this is made from 1.5 by 1.5 1/8" angle iron, and the rest is just miscellaneous hardware from Home Depot, Menards. Any of your home stores will have it. So I went ahead and tested this with the DRZ400. It holds it upright just fine. And now we're going to build one for the Trail 125 that'll be a little bit different. So our basic material for the wheel chock is going to be this. It's 1.5 by 1.5 by 1/8" thick angle iron. This is available at your average Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, anything like that. So to build either the DRZ400 version or the Trail 125 version, you're going to need 8 feet of this. This comes in 4-foot chunks at Home Depot, so if you get 2 4-foot lengths, you'll be fine. Otherwise, you'll need some 3/8 by 1 bolts, 3/8 washers, and then you're going to need some T-slot nuts for whatever truck bed system you have. I got mine on Amazon. Like I said, they're pretty cheap, and they're for a Toyota Tundra or Tacoma. First thing you want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and cut your material. So either one of these, the first one you're going to do is you're going to cut a 15, a 15, and a 16 out of 1 4-foot stick, so that's 46 inches. For the DRZ400 version, the next you're going to cut an 18, an 18, and a 6.5. And then for the Trail 143, it's going to be an 18, an 18, and a 6. So that's the only real different cut version. If you're asking why are there 2 different versions, well, the difference is in the width of the tire it holds. So it's really important if you want it to hold the bike by itself that is a very, very snug fit on the front tire. So for the DRZ400, which has a 90/90/21 tire, the verticals are 3.5 inches apart. And then for the Trail 143, they're going to be 3 inches apart. So it holds the tire very, very snugly and holds the bike up without anybody holding it so that you can put the straps on it. And really, this is designed to be used by yourself. So one person can load the bike, strap it down without the bike falling over and damaging the bike or anything else or a person. So after you get your material cut into the chunks, we're going to go ahead and start laying out the holes and drilling the holes. All right, so this is our 16-inch piece, which is the top piece for both versions. We're building a Trail 143 version here, so we're going to come in 1 inch from each end and then 5 3/4 of an inch from each end and put a mark. And then we're going to drill a hole. We're going to drill our hole 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom of our angle iron. So right there at that point is where we're going to drill the hole. And we're going to go ahead and mark that all the way across on our pieces. So another thing I like to do on the top piece is I like to drill holes in each corner, and these will be for tie-down straps so you can tie the bike to this if you want. And so these we're going to drill in 3/4 of an inch from each side. Like that. This is our bottom 6-inch piece. On this one, we're going to come up from the bottom 5/8 of an inch on each end. And then we're going to come in 3/4 of an inch from each end. And that's going to be our drill mark. All right, so this is an 18-inch vertical, and there's two of these, and they're going to be laid out basically the same. So on the end, we're coming in 3/4 of an inch, and then we're going to come down 3/4 of an inch for our first hole. Then on the other end, down here at the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. So there's 3/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. And then for our cross brace hole, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is going to be 4 inches from the end, right there, and this one's only going to be in a 1/2 inch from the edge. So there, so that's going to be the oddball hole on this. So the other 18-inch piece is laid out exactly the same way, except the offset hole is a mirror image, and they need to be offset to the non-angle side on both of them. Here's a quick and easy tech tip for a step drill bit like this. Just put a white mark with a paint pen and that'll tell you where to stop drilling. Here I've got the top 16-inch, the two 18-inch verticals, and the bottom 6-inch temporarily bolted together here on the table. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to bolt this together and make sure that it is square. So as you can see here, that's not square, so I'm going to need to loosen the bolts a little bit, tweak it, and make sure I've got a nice 3-inch gap between the verticals all the way down. And then once I get that bolted in tightly and square, I can go ahead and mark my diagonals. All right, so now that I've got this all bolted together temporarily and squared up, it's time to mark the angle braces. So these are the 15-inch pieces, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them in underneath like this, make sure they're flush on both ends, and then I'm just going to go ahead and mark both of them like that. Then I'm going to make sure this other one matches pretty close. Squeeze it in. And I'm going to mark it also. So pulling them out, they should be pretty close to what they are, pretty close together. And then we can drill them. Okay, so now you get an idea of what the finished wheel chock starts to look like. But there's one more step I'm going to do before I paint it. So what I want to do is I want to go through every one of these sharp corners like this and put about a 1/2 inch chamfer on every one of those sharp corners all the way around, including the ones on the back side. And so not only is that going to make it safer so there's no sharp edge, but it's also going to give it a cleaner finished look and be less likely to catch on things like ratchet straps, tarps, whatever. Just a quick note that yes, I am using a portaband, I am using a drill press, and I am using a grinder. But if you don't have these tools, you can easily use a hand drill, a file, and a hacksaw even to make the cuts if you need to. So these are the T-nuts, and they're called that because of their shape, and they fit into this T-slot rail, which comes from the factory on these Tundras. I bought an 8-pack of these for my 2 motorcycle wheel chocks. They're not very expensive, but this is how you install them. They're pretty easy. So all you got to do is take out this plastic piece here, like that, by pushing down, sliding out the end, and then the T-nuts just go in here. And like I said, I'm building 2 of these for 2 motorcycles. So I bought a pack of 8 of these T-nuts, and they are 3/8 16. Being 16 inches wide, you could actually fit 3 of these wheel chocks in the back of this Tundra, but the middle one you'd have trouble with the handlebars hitting each other, so I'm sticking with 2. All right, so we got our 4 T-nuts installed in the rail here, and we went ahead and assembled our wheel chock on the bench. Should look something like this, and then went ahead and removed the top rail here, so this will be separate because this is held in with the bolts that mount it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to line this up, give it a quick eyeball, make sure all my bolt holes are relatively lined up, and then we're going to start installing bolts. So here I'm using a grade 5 bolts, washer, and lock washer just to make sure these don't pop loose on me driving down the road, and get it lined up and then get them started one at a time. All right, so now that I've got all 4 of them started, I want to make sure that my center channel here is lined up with this groove here in the truck bed, because that's where I want the tire to sit. And so it needs to go a little bit that way. And then we can simply tighten these down. I thought that one was started, but it wasn't started. And there we go. That's installed and ready for the Trail 125 on this side. All right, folks, we got our wheel chock installed here in the back of the truck on this side for the Trail 125. The DRZ one is on the other side. It already works, I already know that. So I've put the Trail 125 in here just to make sure it fits. So it's a very snug fit here on the front wheel, and there's no straps on this whatsoever. The kickstand's not down. And as you can see, this holds it very, very well for putting the straps on. So this makes it a lot safer and a lot easier for one person to load bikes and then strap them down. I prefer to do one, strap it down, then load the second bike, strap it down, just so you're not kind of walking through some bowling pins, if you will, and knocking stuff down. Overall, this is a pretty simple build, pretty inexpensive build. So if you're not filming it like I am, in a couple hours on a Saturday afternoon, you can get one of these knocked out and then haul your bikes very easily. And once again, when the bike is out of the bed, you have pretty much the entire bed. These really don't take up much space. And like I said, you could put 3 of them in here, but then your handlebars will probably hit. So 2 is a much better fit. If you put a 3rd one in there, you might have to load 1 bike backwards. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, put it down in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them. Like I said, I read all the comments and answer all the ones I can. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.